Hi, and welcome to Creativ8. Today we're going to just kind of go over the basics, kind of show you a general overview of what Creativ8 is and what it's comprised of. So Creativ8 is really a brand new tool. There's nothing really like it in the game development space. It's really designed to do kind of everything and anything outside of the game engine that you need. Whether you're a designer, a producer, an executive, or another team member, Creativ8 can do a lot of different things for you. Creativ8's really designed to work with any team, in kind of any way, whether it's in documentation or, project management, anything that needs to kind of be figured out before it kind of is built. But Creativ8 can help with every aspect of design and everything else that you need to figure out to go into a game. So at first glance, Creativ8 seems like it's a pretty big tool because it really does everything, outside of kind of core, coding, core engine creation, and core, content development, whether audio or art. Everything else, is kind of, for a team, can be done and managed in Creativ8. It really is, kind of an all-in-one tool for documents, spreadsheets, databases, wikis, project management, CMS, pipelines, bug tracking, everything else. It can do all of these things, but it also can integrate with your current tools. If you already use Jira or Confluence, you can bidirectionally integrate those in real time, and your team can keep using those while they also use Creativ8. Or they can use Notion, Asana, ClickUp, and other stuff as well. But Creativ8 can also do all of that by itself and doesn't need to integrate with anything else. So it's up to you to kind of use it how you want to. You can transition slowly to it, or you can transition very quickly to it in many different ways. Creativ8 kind of has a wiki type structure on the far left side. The navigation can allow you to go through and see all of the different modules. Viz is the visualizing tool that we'll talk about in a little bit of how you visualize your data. Designer is the game design tool that allows you to do game design. Creator is the world building tool. Assembler is the level design tool. Producer helps with all the production side of the game. The manager helps with all the management side of the teams and projects and companies. Operator allows you to kind of operate your game, in live operations or manage it, after it's launched. Maker helps you and your outsource partners manage, every and all aspects of content production. The chainer helps with any teams that are working on Web3, blockchain, or other kinds of tools to help them make better games, understand how to work in that space. And the researcher tool is designed to help you research new ideas, new products, understand the market, and things like that. So let's talk about what makes it unique. One of the things is Creativ8 is a whole new process. It's not just a tool. And while this process is optional, you don't have to use it. We do highly recommend that you do, understand why this process is really great, especially for game designers. And, in short, the idea is that Creativ8 comes with a tremendous amount of content. It comes with a tremendous amount of included features. It comes with a lot of stuff where it's not about having to write these long documents. You can still write long documents. You can still write, your 1,000-page or 100-page GDDs, whatever makes you happy. You can write no GDDs. But you can also, come in here and make decisions. And it's done really easily by just turning features on and off. And you'll see this all over the place where a lot of the integrated features is just as simple as you be able to go click and decide, do I want to turn this on? Do I want to turn this off, right? It also has multi-select drop-down menus. So you can come into any one of these menus and you can decide which things do you want, do you not want, which things are good for your project or not. Do you want to have, lots of things in your, in a particular thing? Do you want to have one thing? It's really easy for you to kind of come in here and decide what you want to have and what you want to do. This also makes for a great brainstorming tool. So if anybody's stuck, there's a tremendous amount of content, hundreds of thousands of data points already put into Creativ8, that lets you kind of work a lot faster. You'll see that a lot of the game systems are already built in again. And it's also, the process is designed to kind of allow you to go in and look at the most important things, look at the stuff that's going to, be really detrimental to how, your project works in the long run. Do you have multiplayer? Yes or no? You need to decide those things early on, and just tacking on multiplayer later is going to really hurt you. And so a lot of this allows you and your team to sit down and look at a new product and look at something and go like, hey, this is something I want to do. And do I not want multiplayer? Maybe I just turn it off. Maybe I turn it back on. It's up to you. But you can have those conversations. You can decide, do I want this thing in my game? What are in my game? Are these things, big and scary? Are they fundamental to my game? Or are they just something that's kind of maybe secondary, tertiary, and less important? But there's already thousands and thousands of game systems already integrated with Creativ8 that allow you to go in there and figure out what you want. But all these systems are also recommended by what genres, what themes. You can come in here and say, do you want this thing to be sci-fi, fantasy, or some other thing? And you can make hybrids. I can make this sci-fi and fantasy. Now you'll see that a lot of the content will start filtering. Now it'll only show content that's sci-fi and fantasy. It'll weed out, say, modern day weapons or things like that. So you only see stuff that's relevant to the themes you want. But you also can change those at any time. You can also come in here and choose what genres you want. Do you want it to be action, or some hybrid? Do you want it to be a single thing, and how do you want that genre to be? And so these genres again will also change in which features are recommended. It'll tell you which features you should probably have to make a competitive game in that genre. But when we talk about content, what does content mean? Right? Imagine now that there's, thousands and thousands of different categories of things and hundreds, if not thousands of categories within each one. What character classes are already, built in? All these things. You can very quickly add your own. You can come in here and say, put something new in here. And, in a couple clicks, boom, you have something new added to your database. I don't have to go somewhere else. It's all right here, so it's easy to use. But I can also decide, that's not something I want, right? I can come into gameplay systems and again, see that there's thousands and thousands of gameplay systems already there. And I can choose, what is this thing, relating to? What does this interact with? What is this, which people are we, in alliances with and things like that. All this can be done through, these simple drop-down menus. And you can see that, eating one of these things just has thousands of different stuff. And it quite often has descriptions and tells you kind of what they are and stuff. And so it's very easy and very simple for you to kind of come in here and find lots of things and figure out what you want to build. But, at its core, Creativ8's a big database. And this is kind of big and scary, but this is a game changer because you can come in here and every single thing in your game is really an object. Every single thing is something in this database. Every single thing needs to go from an idea all the way to something that's finished. And not only can I track its game design, but I can track all sorts of different things about it in this database. I can track the sentiment for it. I can track whether team members like it, don't like it. I can make this anonymous if I want. I can, kind of understand the complexity of features. So I can make decisions. I can decide, do I want to cut this thing? Do I want to keep this thing? Do I want to make it a higher priority, lower priority? Do I want to track, is this thing done? Is it even, being thought of yet? What does it relate to? All these different things, allow me to kind of come in here and track, what I think this thing is and whether this thing is important. I can also track its budgets. I can track which teams are assigned to it, which person is assigned to it, when it's due, and everything else related to a feature, right? And so it doesn't matter what this thing is. I can decide, do I want to track its design all the way through, something else that's in it. But I could also dive deeper, and I can go at any point and dive deeper into something else, and I can bring up, a much deeper system, and can dive into a lot of these systems. And I can see that, like, for example, player movement. I can come in here and walk and run and jump, but if I decide I don't want swimming, just turn it off and click. That's all I got to do. I don't have to write something up. I don't have to do something fancy. I just have to click. And then, my traditional GD formats, right? I can still read, and build something out in a traditional way. I can see that this is a GDD that has pictures and has all of its stuff that's in here, and it's in the database, right? And I can track this thing that's in a database and use it there. But I could also come in and just read it, and this auto generates a database, and auto generates your GDDs. Allows me to kind of see, like, do I want to read this, in a more executive friendly traditional format? I can come in here and work in here. So I don't have to work in a database. I can work in formats and familiarities of what I want. But you also see that every one of these features at the top, it understands who I am. It understands when it's, how long I've worked on it today. It understands the percentages done, who it's assigned to, all of its statuses. The full pipeline for approvals and everything else is built into every single feature. It's really fast. It's really easy, right? And so it really is a game changer. And so what this allows is for you as game designers especially, it allows you to start with your really high level view of what you're building and then slowly work down and down and down into more detail. What does more detail mean? Well, maybe I need to write a full GDD on something, but do I need to write like how you run, how you walk, how you jump? Maybe. Maybe I'm doing a unique game. Maybe I need the detailed out. Maybe I don't. Maybe it's okay for my engineers to say yes or no to a bunch of features, or maybe, like, right? And so this pipeline and this process that Creativ8 enables is very different. And so it allows you to start with these high level views of things and then slowly work down to a more focused view. But it handles all of this stuff. It handles everything from, the start of a project and your ideation all the way through, what your team is doing through your pitch decks, and your prototyping and what are you doing. It has fully integrated scheduling, has fully integrated task management, budgeting, design documentation, and everything you need to manage your entire project. So that's Creativ8 in a nutshell, and kind of gives you an idea of just what it is. So hopefully that gives you a better idea of what we're building here.